It was very interesting. It was neat to see all of the other students there, all of the other leaders, because I think we're all over campus doing our own separate things, but we never really have a lot of opportunities to get together and learn from each other's leadership styles. So the Academy was a good opportunity to do that and to share ideas and mingle with each other. Speaking at the Academy was incredibly fun. I had a great time doing it. I think doing the Mizzou Leadership Academy was a big step toward me realizing that speaking and doing workshops and learning more about leadership is something I want to do after I graduate, whether that's giving corporate training opportunities or starting my own company. It was a big step toward that. So when I graduate, I want to look into that. I have always wanted to be self-employed, and so maybe someday I'll be a keynote speaker here back at Mizzou 20 years down the road for who knows what, but I do really enjoy giving workshops and speaking in front of people.
The rubber part will be red.
Yes, and it will have mud tires.
And yes, we can use it on ATVs.
Yes, and it will be reliable.
Say no to me. Say whatever I want. Who wants to share what they had? Who wants to share their product? Yes.
We have a winged purple dinosaur that's the size of Clifford the Big Red Dog. At Toys R Us, pre-trade stores, and garage sales.
Oh, perfect. Excellent. What else? Who has a product? Yes.
We have a doll that is wearing a dress that can be converted into a suit. She also has a jetpack, roller skates, and a car.
Why not? Why not? Clap for that one. Yeah, we're going to clap for all of these. They're all great ideas, right? What else? What else do we have? Yeah.
We have a flying red car with jacuzzi.
A flying red car with a jacuzzi in it? Hell yeah. Clap for that. Who else? Other ideas? We're just going to make us rich, guys.
Me or him?
Both. You first and him.
Okay. We have a rocket that has butterfly wings. It turns blue and red depending on the weather. And it turns black when you're sleeping. It's remote controlled but only goes 20 miles per hour.
Very nice. What do you have?
We have a life-size crime-fighting robot that fights crime with a rubber duck. It has a female sidekick, so we can't be called sexist.
Down gender roles. All right. Now we're going to move on to something else, a little more, I guess you could call it intense. It's called the expert game, and for this one I'm going to need a volunteer or two. I'll show you how it works. It's not very hard. One of you will come up here, and you're going to be an expert. But we're going to tell you what you're an expert in. So let's say I'm the expert, I'm the volunteer, I'll stand up here, and I'm an expert in the Russian logging trade, okay? And you guys are all here to see me as an expert in the Russian logging trade, okay? And you're going to ask me questions about it. So what would be a question you want to ask me? Yes?
When did it really take off?
It took off in the early 1930s, right after a war between internal Russian civil unions. So, and now I'll give an answer, okay? I'm going to give an answer. It doesn't matter what the answer is or if it makes sense. You all are going to be so impressed. Okay? And you're going to clap and you're going to be like, yes, 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 that makes total sense. Thank you, thank you. Next question. You're going to be, I'm only here for a limited period of time. The expert is, okay? And you guys are an audience, you're a press conference, ready to hear everything that I have to say. And you love it all. So who wants to be the expert? Yeah, come on up. Give him a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest here today. He's an expert from far, far away. He's an expert in, what's he an expert in?
Selling shoes.
Selling shoes to
Geologists.
geologists. Very nice to meet you. I've heard about all your work selling shoes to geologists. Well, what questions do we have for our expert today?
What kind of shoes do geologists need?
Not Crocs.
Are they fashionable?
Probably not, no.
Yes, clap for
What's the biggest shoe order ever?
I sold 26.5 shoes once to a guy in Mexico.
Other questions for the expert? Yes.
What makes them different than normal shoes?
They are also made of rocks.
One last question for the expert. Yes.
Then how do you make them comfortable?
They are.
Doesn't that feel kind of good? To just like cheer for people and just let their ideas come out and say yes to them. So who else wants to go? Does anyone else want to be an expert? Yeah, get up here. Thank you. It's also liberating for the person because they know that whatever they say doesn't have to make sense, doesn't have to be funny, doesn't have any rules, doesn't even have to apply to the question at all because you're going to clap for it, right?
Sure.
Exactly. We have an expert here today, expert in something very special.
Rubber cement bottling.
Rubber cement modeling?
Bottling.
Bottling? Rubber cement bottling. You are an expert. Right now, you're an expert in rubber cement bottling. What questions do we have for the expert? Yes?
How do you plan on addressing when the lids are stuck on and they just won't open?
You should be able to open the lid, maybe, but if not, you know, you just take your hand and you get a really good grip, and if it doesn't work, yeah, that's unfortunate.
What happens when kids decide to eat rubber cement from your bottle?
I mean, it happens, so. Yeah.
What's the average daily output of your factory?
Well, it's Elmer's glue, so, you know, it's the rubber cement, so, you know, depends on how many people show up.
One more question for the expert, yes?
I heard you were making flavors. What's your favorite one so far?
Orange.
I really like that activity. If we had a better room for it, what I really like to play is kind of a fear activity where everyone gets in a circle and someone has to go into the middle of the circle and start singing any song. And the only way the person can leave the middle of the circle is if someone steps in and replaces them and starts singing their own song. Yeah, some of you are like, we don't have time, Zach, we don't have time. But we're going to do something different. This is my bear. This is Cinnamon. You mind watching for me? Okay, so this is a product that your same company has come up with. But it went to market and it failed. Okay, so it didn't work as a teddy bear. But we've already made 1 million of these, so we're gonna have to find other uses for them besides a teddy bear. So what you need to do in your groups, you can make groups bigger if you want to, or switch people, is come up with 10 uses for this teddy bear besides what it is supposed to be used for. Okay? That's it. You write them down on a piece of paper. 10 uses. Coming for us from others, from ourselves, and from the world. So this table is an offer to me from the world. I stand on it. Look, I took the offer that was given to me. But normally, I would have been controlled by fear to do that. I made a decision. It's probably going to be memorable, and you can go talk about it after the presentation. Because the world has given me an offer here. And we get those all the time, and we refuse to accept them. Because over here is a decision that we have to make, okay? This could be in our organizations, with friends, with leaders, but we have, let's say, a timeline to figure out what we're going to do in this situation with all these different options, okay? Any choice that you're going to make in life. Whoop, that's a bad arrow. So we have fear in our way. And at this point here, we decide we're going to remove that option. At this point here, we decide this option would make me look silly. At this point here, we've removed these two. By the time we get to the decision, we've decided exactly which option we're going to take. That's bad. Because normally, if you didn't make all these choices, and this were here at the end of the row, you would have had 6 times, 7 times, 1 million times the number of options at that point when you get there but you've already eliminated those options in your head. You're already afraid to take those choices. So that's why improvisation and taking offers as they come to you and saying yes is important, because even though some of these are not the right choice, some of these are spectacular choices that we cross out in our heads because we're afraid. And we're afraid to make steps, and we're afraid to move forward. So accept the offers that people give you, and accept the offers that the world gives you. And I know that's a vague thing to say, but as you go throughout your day, be thinking about when you second guess yourself. That's when you know there's an offer that's being presented to you. When you second guess yourself, when you're thinking, planning ahead, preparing out everything, that's when mistakes happen. I know it's like the opposite of what you've always learned, is it planning. Okay, say and this is important as well. So the first step is to say yes. The second step is to say yes and. So you're building upon the agreement. You're building upon it. You can say yes, but that's a contradiction, and then you completely ruin the whole process. So say and. Got another game for you guys. Okay, let's do something here. Let's do another partner thing. You can pick a new partner. You can keep the same partner, whatever you want to do. You now work for a company. Okay, you can come up with a company name if you want to, and you are developing a product. Okay, so one of you is going to say the phrase, "We are developing a product." Your partner is then going to say, "Yes, and you can add on to that however you want. We are developing a product. Yes, and it will be blue." And then it will go back to your partner again, and they'll say, "Yes, and." And you'll go on and on and on, and you'll see where you get. But you can't say no. Everything your partner says is brilliant. Everything. So accept it. Okay, go ahead and begin whenever you want.
All right. What do you think are some of the core values of leadership?
Oh gosh, it's hard to pinpoint. I think leadership has to do with, obviously, the ability to think on your feet, because that's what my presentation is about today, but it incorporates so many different aspects. You have to be prepared at, oh gosh, this is a tough question. Can I give you another answer for that one?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
What do you think are the core values of leadership? Yeah, sorry. Okay. Yeah, I've always think that leadership has to do with letting yourself fail, the ability to fail forward. So when you screw up or you make a choice or you make a decision, the ability to take a step back and say, it's okay that I failed. Failing didn't make me a failure. And I think the great leaders are the ones who can recognize that and move forward with their lives and learn from the things that they failed on in the past. And that's kind of what my presentation is about today.
What is something that you want students to take away from this?
I want them to leave with a renewed sense of energy, with a new passion for maybe getting involved with something that they were afraid to get involved with before. Maybe fear kind of kept them from doing some things here at Mizzou. I want them to leave with that fear gone, with them thinking, I can be a leader, I can do all kinds of things, just kind of with a new sense of motivation.
And why would you recommend the Mizzou Leadership Academy to students?
I was able to attend last year. I had a great time. The speakers are incredible. The sessions are so helpful. And sometimes when you get caught up in mid-semester duties and classes, you forget kind of what you're working for and what you're doing. And I think the Mizzou Leadership Academy is a great break from all of that. And it's a great way for you to take a step back and say, hey, let's look at the big picture here and see what I can really do to make an impact on campus.
So how did you feel being asked to actually be a presenter?
I felt very honored to be asked to be a presenter. There were some awesome presenters last year, and so I really wanted to follow in their footsteps and do something that would be memorable and really neat for the students who show up. So I was very excited.
Is there anything else you got to say?
No, I'm good.
All right, good deal.
Yeah.
So how you doing?
Doing well. Is this about Mizzou Leadership Academy, right?
Yes,
about speakers specifically, or like what type of project are you working on?
Well, basically what this is going to be basically after this interview, I'm going to cut this down to about 45 seconds for this video series we have called Lessons in Leadership.
Okay.
Where essentially it's just sort of talking about the experience you had at the academy, and sort of what you've done since then, how you've applied that knowledge. So.
Okay. Like as a student going to the academy, or as the speaker?
Well, see, you've done both.
Yeah. So it's kind of both.
Yes,
okay.
I'll ask you about both.
Cool.
So anyway, I guess the first question I have is, when did you first join the academy? When did you first apply, and when were you, invited to join the academy?
It was my sophomore year that I was first invited to the Mizzou Leadership Academy. After my sophomore year, and then when I was a junior, I came back to be a speaker for other students. So, yeah, I think that's right. I'm trying to think back. So sophomore year, it happens in the spring, right?
No, in the fall.
In the fall?
Yeah, November.
Okay. Yeah, see, I don't even know.
It's quite all right. So is there anything that you remember from the experience of being at the academy as a student, not as a speaker, but as a student?
Yeah, it was very interesting. It was neat to see all of the other students there, all of the other leaders, because I think we're all over campus doing our own separate things, but we never really have a lot of opportunities to get together and learn from each other's leadership styles. So the academy was a good opportunity to do that and to share ideas and mingle with each other.
Are there any lessons that you remember, taking from that experience that you then applied as a leader in either organizations or, other sort of things that required leadership on your part as a student?
Yeah, I remember a speech given by Jeff Luker, who was an old summer welcome coordinator, about being a leader who lives in a fishbowl. And I remember him talking about getting outside of your personal fishbowl and expanding your boundaries, widening your horizons to other areas of campus that you maybe have never been to, and how that makes you a better leader and brings new aspects to your leadership style. I thought that was a really interesting concept, because I know we get trapped. We're all part of the same campus, but I think sometimes we get trapped in very, very small bubbles on campus, and it's hard for us to break out of those as leaders. So.
And then in your junior year, you were asked to be a speaker. So what was that experience like?
Yeah, speaking at the academy was incredibly fun. I had a great time doing it. I spoke on creative confidence, or how to use the techniques of improv in your leadership style, because I think people get the assumption that if you're a leader, you're born a leader. It's a natural trait that you have. But I'm a big believer that you can train yourself to become a better leader and train yourself to be more creative and think on your feet faster. And it's not always a natural ability. It's something you can teach yourself. So I wanted to share that and share my experience with improv, and I had a great time doing it. It was a lot of fun.
Are you going to be doing anything this year for the Mizzou Leadership Academy?
I haven't heard anything yet. I'm not sure. So we'll see.
And so,
DR might ask, but what? I'll wait on it.
And so, this is your last year here at MU.
Mm-hmm.
How are you planning on, taking the skills that you've learned not only as a student of the Mizzou Leadership Academy, but also a speaker, out into the real world? What are you planning on doing with this knowledge? What have you done that might actually have some reach beyond the walls of MU's campus?
Yeah, I love speaking. I love public speaking, and I love giving workshops. I love creativity in general. Improv has been very helpful, but I think doing the Mizzou Leadership Academy was a big step toward me realizing that speaking and doing workshops and learning more about leadership is something I want to do after I graduate, whether that's giving corporate training opportunities or starting my own company. It was a big step toward that. So when I graduate, I want to look into that. I have always wanted to be self-employed, and so maybe someday I'll be a keynote speaker here back at Mizzou 20 years down the road for who knows what, but I do really enjoy giving workshops and speaking in front of people.
Okay. Any final thoughts on the Mizzou Leadership Academy?
If you have the opportunity to go, you should definitely take advantage of it. It's a quick event. It flies by because it's so packed with awesome activities and speakers, but take advantage of it because you don't get a lot of opportunities to see that many Mizzou leaders and awesome people in one spot. So it's a great event, and everyone who goes should soak it up, take advantage of it, and learn as much as they can from other people.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Yeah.